position man there, Tim Murray. Beside him, John Stapleton in 68.5. So very close indeed. But unfortunately, Alan, the weather, but it makes for excitement, but not that enjoyable for the drivers.
No, indeed. And we're starting this packed weekend of motorsport here from Modelo, organised by the Leinster Motor Club, very much at the budget end of the sport. This is the Formula V qualifier. You can put one of these cars on the grid for around £1,500. It's a great little class. It's now the most popular single-seater class in Irish racing. There are over 60 drivers registered for this class, indeed 40 entered this weekend, and that's why this is the C qualifying race. So these are the guys, the top 8 of these will go forward into the Tedcastle Lubricants qualifying round. So it's very important to be up the front of this grid. But the weather, that's the big question mark. It's easing off a little bit now. Not such a problem with these cars because, as Brian said, they are on treaded tyres. Normally, a single-seater has to really choose between having either a rain tyre or a slick tyre, but here with the treaded tyre, this combats for all conditions. So not such a problem with them. Somebody a little bit concerned there, hand in the air, just signalling to the following drivers that he's slowing down and about to come up and take his grid position. That's Andy Kavanagh. So it's going to be number 47, Tim Murray, who will be on pole position for this one as they come round Dunlop corner at the top of that rise, about the highest point of the circuit, down onto the grid. Back to you, Brian.
As you can see, the little slightly dry line in the middle of the road there, and as Alan said, once the shower, if the breeze keeps up, and it's blowing fairly strong at the moment, we may get a dry line, but the first corner is going to be all important. Very slippy indeed. Two guys on the front row there, Tim Murray and John Stapleton, looking across as the grid gets themselves together. You can see the grid marshals pulling them all down there. 2-2 grid, slightly spaced. You'll see this man in third position there, Johnny Flynn, slightly staggered. He'll look at the centre between the two guys in front, right? Wheel spin, and that's where your wheels start to spin because of the damp conditions. Now, Marshall at the front will show a 5-second board. Then 5 seconds, then the lights will change to red, and between 4 and 6 seconds, they will change to green. Again, all important to get that start. First corner, very, very tight indeed. Somebody coming from the third row, a little nudge can start this whole train effect, which will put them onto the grass. But really, the pole position man revving now, jumping the start on the second row there, past the line. A good start from our pole position man. Someone stuck there on the outside. That's Dave McCauley in a dangerous position. Yellow flag's been waved, but our pole position man holding the inside line. This is the all-important one. Plenty of grip there, and our front row held a good start from Johnny Flynn there in the Listerine car, coming up into third place on the outside. In fact, he's got up into second place. A super manoeuvre there from Johnny Flynn as our leader spins, 2 spinners, 3 spinners, and this has handed the race really to John Flynn, who's gone through on his own, but the leader there just got caught out in the slippy conditions. That's him there in the green, just getting out. He'll be kicking himself. But this bunch here got through, and all through safely, Alan.
Yeah, well, I remember a famous Formula V race at Phoenix Park where every single runner spun on the first corner. But there's the man, number 8 in the Listerine car. And I wonder will the officials have anything to say with him, because it was a messy start. He actually jumped the start, and he may well have a penalty. So he's maybe need that advantage, very much so. There's the man that was in pole position. That's Tim Murray, well stuck in the sand traps there that are there designed to slow up cars so they don't damage themselves against the bank. And here we see it again. Now it was the left-hander going out onto the back straight that caused the trouble. Our leader, our pole man, Tim Murray, just spins, and they all, possibly a bit of oil there, or possibly a bit of fright, but they all went off in unison.
John Sapin there just spinning in sympathy with him, but unfortunately just coming into that tight left-hander, there's no heat in the tyres, and it's just a little bit of a dip. There'll be plenty of water. As Alan said, you saw at the start, this man Johnny Flynn did move over the line on the second row of the grid, so whether he's penalised or not, if he's penalised, it'll be a 10-second penalty. And back down the field there, the battle royal between these lads. This has really caused them all to bunch up, with the exception of our leader there, Johnny Flynn, who is pulling away. Lovely prepared car. As Alan said, this is the cheapest form of single-seater racing, but that doesn't mean it is cheap. All motor racing is expensive. You see the little red light on the back there. Because of the wet conditions, all cars must carry this red light.
Right, he's coming back into the main arena now, Johnny Flynn. He's got an enormous lead, and there's the second place man just coming into picture now. We'll hone in get the number of that in a second or two. And then there's quite a battle. Paul Conroy there, number 40, leading a little battle for third place. Paul Conroy actually leads the Tedcastle Lubricants Championship at the moment. But there is the second car now, number 20, just coming up. That's Pat Donegan.
Pat Donegan, now he's followed by Paul Conroy. Now Pat just got through the bunch there, and he will be trying to really get after Johnny Flynn, handed to him more or less on a plate, because the first three guys spun. That was Murray, Dave McCauley and John Stapleton, all out of it. And from the second row, Johnny Flynn, a nice manoeuvre, but it's really good. But there is the man, he's out on his own. We're waiting and watching the start finish line to see if it is, but this is the battle here now. These guys are really, and this possibly could be the race. We'll know within the next minute or 2 minutes whether the officials have decided if that was a jump start.
Johnny Flynn then on the road out in front, and look at him, he's just absolutely tiptoeing around Bridgestone Bend there as it comes up over the top, and you really need a tender touch for these sort of conditions. They're on a control tyre, a Dunlop tyre, and they really have to just feather the power. There's another spin for our man Tim Murray. That's his second gyration in a very short distance, so he's not having a good day. He doesn't like the wet. Spread out a little bit now in third place. Still Paul Conroy. There he is. Paul Conroy with a bit of pressure in behind there. I think it's number 37 just behind him. We're just checking our numbers as he goes through there. And up they come, up this difficult part of the circuit, because this corner is actually blind.
Coming up the inside there, it is indeed number 57, Troy McKenna, just making a nice manoeuvre by using that inside line. He's slow on the way out, and Paul Conroy trying to get back at him down the inside. But these two having a super battle. You can see in the background there number Peter Panama and number 6, but this has really mixed the grid up. The favourites that were up the front are now mixing it down the back, and remember, 8 or 10 of these will go through depending on the amount of space and the huge entry here at this Leinster meeting this weekend to go through to the next qualifying race. So parts, positions at the finish, all important. Number 16 there going through, that's Dennis Conheady.
And interestingly, up front, we noticed that Johnny Flynn has more than a 30-second advantage over second place man, which would possibly, if he does get that penalty, this is purely conjecture by us at the moment, but that would still have him back in the lead.
Now I can just see that on the start-finish line, the officials have number 8 on the board. They're putting number 8 on the board, showing it to the timekeepers. That'll be shown to our leader, Johnny Flynn, telling him he has a 10-second penalty. But the way he's driving, it is quite possible that he could actually pull 10 seconds out on the road.
Well, he has, actually, Brian. He's very close to it anyway. He's got it, but he's got to put the hammer down. He'll be aware of that now too. He'll have had
I'm
the
surprised he actually has passed the start and finish, and the board hasn't been shown to him, so he's another lap to do. The official now getting ready. So Flynn, more than 10 seconds at the moment, so he's still leading the race on the road, even with the penalty. Right,
we're looking at the V's rather spread out on this occasion, tiptoeing through down at the first corner there, the Coca-Cola bend. There's a little challenge coming down the inside now. That's a classic overtaking maneuver, but he went up over the curbs, lost a bit of his advantage, and you can see how slippery it is. The slightest bit of power, and to be honest, there's not a huge amount of power in these machines, but the slightest bit of power, and the thing wants to kick the tail out and go sideways. Mark Campbell there, number 44, 42 is Michael Morrissey. They're having a great little dice, and 55 is Noel Thompson. So they're really enjoying the motorsport here this afternoon at Modelo.
Campbell at the moment dictating this in the front. In the wet, it is easy to lead and keep those at bay because he will pick the nicest line. Anybody coming down through the gap there, heavy, late on the brakes, just could lock a wheel in these slippy conditions. But on the braking there, number 42, that's Michael Morrissey, closing right up on 44, Mark Campbell. So again, Campbell being very, very cautious through the S's there. They're at half distance in the race now. Battle up front there, Michelle Graham, a young lady that came up from the karting, very, very good karting in the 100 Nationals, then the 125s, making our first year. This is our race leader, and remember, he's had a halfway stage. He's pulled out more than 10 seconds on the second place man, so at the moment he is still the leader on the road. As he exits there, the double apex down in the depths, way out in the country from the main grandstand. Johnny Flynn, a lot of experience, has raced Formula Ford, raced the original Formula V class, was the secretary of it. In fact, he's one of the people who really got this class off the ground, put a lot of effort into it. Runs a little garage in Dunleary, comes from a great motor racing background. His father many times in sports cars and that, his sister race cars, but at the moment, Johnny doing it all right up front in the Listerine car. There we go, the leader still coming down that straight as he goes into the Coca-Cola hairpin, and this is the tricky one. Mondello resurfaced a couple of years ago, but it can do nothing about when the rains come. It still makes it very, very slippy indeed. So there we go, John Flynn at the moment, and Alan will tell you just what the gap is.
Well, it's gone down actually. It's been decreased. It's gone down to 5.4 seconds. He was out to 5.9 seconds, so he's not making enough time up at this moment to actually win this race with that 10-second penalty. So Johnny Flynn, I don't know if he's getting the right information from his pit or not, but he's going to have to put the hammer down to actually win this race on the road.
Well, it took the officials a long time to give him the board, the 10-second penalty. Then they would go and notify his people in the pits, right? And now he's really got it all to do in 5 laps. He's actually got to pull out a second a lap if he wants to win on the road. So that's John Flynn there at the moment. This is a back marker, or is it? Yes, a back marker. This is the actual leader now, but is the leader on time? No, it's not indeed. It's number 9 that. We're still looking for number 20. Has he gone off the road? With 3 laps to go, have we actually lost the second place man? There we have him. No, slightly damaged on the nose, little bit of mud there. Maybe he did have a little excursion off. So that there is number 20, Pat Donegan, as he makes his way around the hairpin.
Pat Donegan, like so many of these runners, driving Shane cars, which are manufactured at County Wicklow, that really have been the backbone of this formula, the homemade cars. He's from Kills himself, a great stronghold traditionally over the years of Formula V racing. And there he is in the Drogheda hard car, really trying to narrow that gap to the leader, but in fact he doesn't need to, because he was right off on the curbs there. He nearly went right off the course there. So Pat Donegan obviously trying hard, but he in fact, we reckon, is the leader.
Yes, indeed, he has little puffs of smoke there. This is a thing that you'll see from the VW engines. When they get hot, they get a little smoke. Nothing to worry about, but at this time he's under no pressure from anybody behind him. He should be taking it nice and easy. His pitch will be telling him that at the moment the man in front of you has a penalty, and on the road you are the race leader. He should pussyfoot through here. He's getting it very, very wide. He's only going to make one mistake, one little spin, and that'll give Johnny Flynn the advantage he needs with 2 laps to go. Donegan, that is the man on the road who has jumped the start, and we're looking for Donegan at the moment about 5-point-odd seconds in arrears, but at the way he's driving, as I say, one little mistake, a wheel out on a curb, a half spin, and Flynn will gain possibly precious seconds he needs.
So the order with just less now than 2 laps to go is Johnny Flynn on the road in first place, but not really. In fact, Pat Donegan, the man we're looking at here, number 20, who's come right up from the 5th row of the grid, is fighting that car all the way. It's been a real upset this race, but he looks like going through into the Ted Castle Lubricants final. Number 49 would be next up. He had been on the front row of the grid. That's John Stapleton. Then we have number 57, and that is again a bit of a surprise, Troy McKenna. And following him would be number 40. That's Paul Conroy, one of the should have been one of the favourites, and the man who leads the Ted Castle Championship at the moment. So, looking at number 20, fighting away, Johnny Flynn probably unaware that he's really not making this advantage. He's just 5 seconds now ahead of the second place one, and that's not enough.
Out onto the mud again. You can see the mud on the tires. He's beginning to start his last lap now. And unless something drastic happens, he's going to take it nice and easy. He'll be getting this message from the pits that he's actually, again, very, very wide there. A wheel on the grass almost. Nice, gentle leaving the corner. Lost a nose cone there. That's a back marker. That's John Flynn, who jumped the start. And there is our race leader. You can see he's actually beginning to make inroads onto Flynn. So Flynn at the moment can do nothing about it. He can just sit there and hope he will finish up. Oh, again, a little turn in there, just a little heavy on the loud pedal, as they say, and he's getting very, very wide indeed. He's on his last lap. I presume his pit has told him that he doesn't have to catch Flynn. He's out over the curbs again and onto the grass as he comes down to the S's for the last time. So this is his Pat Donegan as he makes his way down for the last time, turns into this left-hander. Again, the track drying, he's getting a little dry line there, but again, using the curbs a little too much maybe, Alan.
So Pat Donegan having fun, and fun to watch as he really uses all the track and a little bit more as he now shadows Johnny Flynn. He's closed that gap. It was down to 4.7 seconds, but it's not relevant because there's the checkered flag. Pat Donegan is going to take it after quite an extraordinary upset. It really all happened on the second corner. That's where they all got caught out by the wet. Coming down the hill now, number 20, that Pat Donegan has taken, I should say, the win. But coming down the second place down, number 49, and that was our front row man, John Stapleton.
Yes, John spun in the first corner. We can see now the whole thing, again, making their way in the back entrance to the pits. But our winner there drove very well indeed, came out of that first lap spin on the left-hander and drove his way through it.
Ripco Challenge, and on pole position Alan Johnson, a very experienced campaigner indeed, number 21 in the Irish fencing car. Alongside him, number 28, Michael Conway, another experienced Ripco driver in the Ashmore Ryder sponsored car. This is really the bargain basement now of saloon car racing. Great fun indeed. On the second row we've Alan Byrne, number 48. There you can see him now in the Anglo-Irish Bank car. And then alongside him, Enda Cassidy, number 2 on the outside of the second row. Moving back, Marty Fagan, a great character in this form of racing. Number 5, alongside him, Val Thompson, who used to race in the Peugeot class, now is in the cheaper Fiat Ripco class. Again, back another row, and in the DID car we have Mark Turley, number 16. We're about to go. It's 10 laps. It's got to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be very exciting down at Coca-Cola Bend as these little front-wheel drive cars scrabble for grip on a drying track. And it looks like Michael Conway's got the nose slightly ahead, but it's going to be hard to get around the outside of Alan Johnson, who takes the lead. Are they going to all stay on? That's the big question as they go round this long hairpin.
Yes, on the wall you can see Fagan in the background there, bumping and boring his way, just being punched down one. But somebody out there, number 84.
That's Hilary Brady in her second year of this racing. His second year, I should say. Hilary Brady there off onto the grass.
Alan Byrne up into third place there, so it's Johnson from Conway. Little spots of rain on the warm-up lap. These are the lads who qualified from that previous clips we showed you of the race earlier on today. But look at the dice at the moment. Johnson, who felt that he could actually break the lap record, get into the 12s if the weather conditions were right, but a little slippy out there. But you can see he'll have his work cut out. And again, and somebody nudging in there. Byrne getting a wee nudge there. You remember, if you were watching last year, that Alan Byrne had a multiple role. So there we have it. Michael Conway in second place, Alan Byrne in third place, and Enda Cassidy there really pushing his way. Fagan, someone getting very late on the brakes onto the grass. We've lost one there in the top corner. But at the moment, Alan Johnson just pulling out that little lead, the little cushion he needs. And in the background, what's known as Vietnam. Everybody looking for spots. The green and orange car on the outside there, that's Alan Byrne looking for that second place, and it's a long way around the outside. Fagan half spinning there. You can see that it's still very slippy. Track hasn't completely dried, but how many of these Ritmos are there left in Ireland, Alan?
And there went somebody right off on the grass, but no doubt about it, Alan Johnson has got a nice little advantage here. This is the battle, this is the fun. Number 48 there, Alan Byrne, trying to fend off the considerable attentions of the two cars behind him. Looking very aggressive there. Enda Cassidy, the fourth of those cars. He's had a couple of goes at trying to get past there, unsuccessfully so far, but now Byrne closing in on the leader. This is going to be interesting.
Yes, Alan Byrne, who is really trying to pull it all in because he's lying in second place in the championship, 2 points behind the leader there, Alan Johnson. Well, Alan, very, very good. You can see the damp on the left-hand side of the track there with the dry line up the right-hand side, but Byrne at the moment hauling in Johnson, and this will be a battle right down to the wire, using all the road out on the curbs. Conway in third place, just getting a little touch there from Enda Cassidy. Enda Cassidy looking at that inside line for the next corner, Coca-Cola. Byrne at the moment will be able to dictate the position. He tried to dummy down the inside of Johnson and then pull out, locking a wheel there, but Johnson not being intimidated, and Conway through. Cassidy still there in fourth place, and there's Marty Fagan there sitting on in fifth. He's just going to have to turn the wick up a little bit, Marty, and get back into this dice.
And PPG, the sponsors of this championship, interestingly enough, because this is really the bargain basements, as we said, in saloons, one end of club racing. At the very other end of the sponsorship scale, they also sponsor the Indy cars over there in America. So very much involved in motorsport at two ends of the scale. But look at this great dice here. For second place, Enda Cassidy really trying everything he knows to try and get past. And a similar situation up front between Alan Byrne in second place and Alan Johnson, number 21, who leads.
Johnson, yes, in the Irish fencing car. Now have a look and see that, the Ashmore Rider car. Ashmore Rider in the panel beating business. Let's hope Michael Conway doesn't need him on Monday morning. But this is Alan Johnson as he just makes his way up the hill with Byrne in the green and orange car. This is the battle for third place. Michael Conway, Cassidy just taking that tight line again, looking for the inside, and I think he's got it this time, side by side. Let's see who has the power. He's alongside him. If he can hold this down into Coca-Cola hairpin, which it looks as if he will have moved up a place. That is the manoeuvre you've got to do. If you're going to pass at Coca-Cola, you've got to set it up on the previous hairpin as they come out of Dunlop, and he does. Doesn't let understeer too much, lets it go out, but Conway looking at remember the next one is a left-hander, so he is in the best spot for that. Conway bumped back into fourth place, so it's Cassidy now up into third. But while these two are dicing away, they're actually slowing each other down, and it gives a chance for Alan Byrne and young Johnson, not so young Johnson I should say, to get out. Just clipping the curb there, Cassidy, launching the car, and you can see that the gap between second and third is just beginning to widen out there. But a battle up front, Byrne not giving up at the moment. Remember, 2 points between them in the championship. 124 to Alan Johnson, 122 in the Anglo-Irish Bancorp car. He won't want to give up. He'll want to win this one, Alan. Losing out slightly there in the second part of the S's, Alan.
Absolutely. It's you can't afford the slightest mistake in these cars. They're so even, and it really is very hard to make background. But it's interesting now with number 2, Enda Cassidy, up into third place. He really psychologically had to get the finger out and get the foot down and really pull away immediately once you make that passing maneuver. So there we are. Still pressure on Alan Johnson. Alan Johnson came from karting. He's been racing for years, very experienced competitor, loves his motorsport, loves the crack, and really has done probably as many laps as Modelo as anybody out this weekend. There he is, the Irish fencing car, heading out now, down the back of the country, out towards the double apex corner. Third place now, a little bit more spread out. And Cassidy still in third place. In fourth place, Alan Byrne. And here the whole Fiat Ritmo field streaming through our picture.
Yes, and there is the battles as they go further down the grid there. Number 16, Mark Turley, who should really be up front there. A very quick pilot indeed with the DID sponsorship. He at the moment is chasing Marty Fagan as they come out of that double apex out in the field. There's our third place man beginning to pull away now from Mike Kerner. Marty Fagan beginning to make inroads there in the blue and the black car, but Byrne, all the Allens. I have an Alan Tyndall sitting beside me. I have an Alan Johnson leading race and an Alan Byrne in third place. So all three Allens at the moment on their toes. Byrne not giving up, but the wily old Alan Johnson out front. You see that he's using all the road. The dry line is on the right. He's pulling out there. He doesn't want Byrne to get onto his bumper to get a tow. Back across the road onto that dry line. Down out of third into second, turning in nice and tight. Just touches the apex of the corner there. Not too much wheel spin. If you give it too much throttle, you're just going to spin your wheels there. Into the left-hander here. Very tricky indeed. You can see the hands really working through there. And this is where Johnson, there's their third place man, Enda Cassidy in third, and Conway in fourth place. And Conway getting under pressure there from Marty Fagan. Marty, one of the characters of motor racing. This is a battle here for 6th and 7th now.
Val Thompson in the second of those cars. Val Thompson, again, a very experienced Saloon car man. There he is, putting pressure on 16 Thurley, but Thurley will be well able to handle that, I would imagine. He's done a lot of miles as well. So, the little Fiat Ritmo, and really wonderful to see Fiat so enthusiastically backing motorsport in this country, not only in this class but also in the Fiat Unos, and really the Fiat cars making up a very large proportion of the grids now here in Ireland. So there's our leader, 21. He's coming down, it's over half distance now. He's coming down to complete his 6th lap now, this 10-lap race. Alan Johnson then, and once again, look at Alan Byrne on the outside there, trying everything he knows, trying to cheat the wind, trying to cheat the brakes, and desperately late on the brakes that time as he came down into Coca-Cola hairpin. And you can see the little front-wheel drive getting understeer. In other words, the nose is being pushed out a little bit as they scramble for grip. Great dice there going round the outside. Val Thompson challenging. There must be paint swapping there.
Yes, indeed. Val Thompson, local Nace man, brother of Peter Thompson, who had the famous sports car they built. He's sponsored actually by one of the local companies here in Nace, the Nace Cellular Centre for phones. And he's moved up a place here. Enjoys his motor racing, but Turley not one to give up. A little bit of paint swap there, back door, slight bit of a change again over the curbs, Turley there, but a super manoeuvre there from Val Thompson. Now he's got to get the head down and just get away from Turley and possibly move up yet another place.
And paint swapping not such a problem in this class because the sponsor is a paint company, so I don't think they have to pay too much for their paint, just putting it on. So there we are, number 9, Val Thompson. And fighting on right, we saw Thurley over the curbs there. And he's coming under a considerable challenge now with 3 laps to go. So Thurley could be demoted another place. Meanwhile, we go back with the leader, Alan Johnson. And look at that ever-present green car right behind him, right beside him this time. As Alan Byrne again tries another line. And he's trying to force his way up to get in on the left-hander. There ain't room, though.
No, just the width of the back bumper, but obviously just got in right on the brakes. Had Johnson over to the right-hand side of the road, be slightly slower. Not a lot of grip coming out of that hairpin, but Byrne in the best position so far. Really got the wick turned up, coming in here, down in second place. Uses that wide outside line, hopes to get up alongside him. It's a quicker exit, but Johnson had to keep that inside door closed because you'll never know when Byrne will appear. Again, got the faster exit out of the bottom bend and really going in. Johnson again very tight on the inside, giving Byrne that quick outside line. So there we go, just changing gear just about now as they get through the second part of the S's and up the hill. Dry line on the right, he's going to hold on to that. He's up on his tippy toes here. You can see Johnson, there's about 10 stone of the difference between weight between Alan Johnson and Alan Byrne. You can see the size of Alan Byrne in the back, and he says it helps. That little bit of weight helps to keep the car on the ground, but Johnson not intimidated, just has a quick lap at his lap scorer there. He's 2 laps to go, starting his second last lap again down in the hair. You can see Byrne really using that little bit of outside to get, again, really working the wheel there. A little bit of a spin, and that's giving Byrne an advantage.
Well, he has that advantage, but he has a problem because with this track partially wet, if you really look closely at the track, you'll see there is a definite dry line. It's widening all the time, but that means that Byrne doesn't have the full width of the track for braking. He can't come offline and go onto a damp patch and brake. So he really doesn't have that as many options as you would normally have. But by goodness, he's trying. So Alan Byrne, then number 48, really keeping the pressure on number 21, Alan Johnson, with just about a lap and a half to go now. So it's going to be a fabulous finish to this one as these two fight it out. Surely there'll be tears before the end.
And as Alan said, when you watch up the hill, on the left there's the wet line. Now if Johnson keeps that just tight, dry line, unfortunately Byrne can do nothing about it because coming in that late on the brakes is not going to do anything. Again, coming down into the next hairpin, plenty of dry line, but the exit is damp, so he's caught out by the weather. But he'll be working something to try and get him at the top corner because he's gone his last lap. He's got 4 corners to do it. Johnson using slightly the centre of the road this time, letting him down the outside, but will just lift off slightly here, keep his advantage, lots of wheel spin. Remember, the next one is a left-hander, and he's done it. He's actually got Byrne off the throttle there, and he pulls 2 car lengths.
And really, he's not going to have this option on Dunlop corner, the last corner of the circuit, so he's really got to do something about it in the next 2 or 3 turns. It's not close enough at the moment. Down in the double apex Budweiser corner there, he's really lost out a bit of ground, and this is the moment that Alan Johnson is using all his experience. So Byrne, just behind him, he won one of the big races at Phoenix Park about a month ago. He's going to have a really hard job, and he's really trying desperately late on the brakes that time, locking up the front wheels. One corner to go now as they come up the hill, and it looks very much like Alan Johnston.
Yes, lost out that advantage coming out just late on the brakes, but at this stage he's got to do something, but he isn't close enough at the moment. Coming again as late as he possibly could on the brakes. Johnson just holding on, letting the car run out. There's 10 feet between them. Johnson looking in the mirror, heading over to the right hand side of the road, and there he gets the checkered flag. So it's Johnson from Alan Byrne, and in third place, we're watching for the third place man at the moment, and that is Enda Cassidy. Held that third place. We've lost one there, and then it's Marty Fagan, with no doubt about our winner, Alan Johnson there, the Irish fencing.